You guys ready?
It was clear I was going to do this job.
We're just going to go right into
I
it.
told myself I had to do this job. And Johnny had to go to London, I think, for some pre-production stuff for a movie he was going to do a smaller part in. I think it was called, I think this was Into the Woods, is my best guess.
By the way,
So he
okay.
dropped me off in London, and when he dropped
So to
me off in
give a
London,
preemptive
we had
thing.
a few days
Yeah, she's on the stand today.
that
I watched a bit yesterday.
first, completed our relationship in.
And basically all she's done so far is give a sob story.
And
Basically about how good she is. She's basically virtue signaling herself.
that was the
And she also said some really awful things about Johnny Depp without evidence.
like to be in the same room.
Like saying that
And it
he's
was
like
mostly
hit her,
he got
sexually
out.
abused her, etc.
And
Don't know. There's no evidence for it, but that's what she said so far. So we will
be
see.
my girl forever, my woman, my girl. I want you to be the rest of my life. Say yes to me. He said he wanted to spend every
That scrunchy ass
day,
face.
he promised me that every day when I woke up, that I would wake up and he would make me smile at least once. And that would be his goal.
See what I'm talking about?
And,
Already, man.
I looked into his eyes, and
All she's doing is trying to get people to feel bad for her. Thank you, Naomi.
my future, hope, like blind hope. I'm so in love. It was one of the most, I can't describe that kind of joy. I thought, if we were married, then
I was so in love.
this is real. This is real. This isn't a thing of,
What?
this isn't chaotic, and this will change. I had so much hope in that moment.
Not her trying to fake tears.
And I just said to him over and over again, "Are you serious? Are you real? Are you serious? Are you sure?"
Yeah, they're saying she has
'Cause he didn't
PTSD.
have a ring, so I thought,
The
is
psychiatrist.
this an impulse thing? My experience, Johnny, could be very impulsive, and
How is this relevant?
he-
She's trying to sob story
he
the jury.
said over and over again, "Be my."
That's
be
what
my
she's
woman
trying to do
forever.
right now.
I want
She's
you
trying
be
to
my
sob
wife,
story.
My wife. I of course cried, and we had a wonderful evening. And he left shortly after, and I was like, the next day I had to go to work, and I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he.
So
didn't mean
I don't get it.
or
All
something,
she's talking
or
about
that
is
he
like
wasn't
them,
sure. I just didn't
him
want it to be an
proposing right
impulse
now.
thing.
What does
So
this
I
have to
didn't
do with
want to
it?
mention it. I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to. And I kind of felt, I walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin. And then he brought my dad out to London with my best friend.
I had butterflies under my
told
skin?
Me, Johnny has asked me permission for your hand in marriage. And I'm.
Is this
I
a
felt like the
testimony or a
luckiest woman in
TED
the
talk?
world.
So while you were
sorry.
filming London Fields
I'm sorry.
and Johnny had gone back to L.A., what, if any, issues did you have with him on fraternizing with the cast?
Okay, I just want to say, I'm on Johnny's side until there's
I'm gonna
evidence.
ask, Michelle, can you pull up defendants?
Because she has said very, very awful things that apparently Johnny has done. But until there's evidence, I'm on Johnny's
Going to
side.
object on hearsay.
Your Honor, I'm going to, let's pull up 188A. I've redacted everything.
Because
Mr. Depp's
the thing is there's zero evidence of like Johnny doing these things. However, it seemed like Amber was always the one recording, was always the one trying to catch Johnny doing something. However, all these disgusting, deplorable things that he's done, there's zero evidence for. Even though apparently she tries constantly to try to get him in trouble. Like, she has so many videos, so many recordings.
Give that a minute. While they're working on that, can you tell us what transpired? between you and Mr. Depp when you wanted
Currently,
to
all
do
they
something
have
with
is
a
him
cast
sleeping
member?
and assaulting some
So,
cabinets. For evidence,
as I
yeah,
said,
that's
he
all they have.
came
But
to London for his own work and also dropped me off in London.
the only
where I had to be for a
evidence
few
she
months to
has
film this
is
movie.
accusations and word
he
of
asked me
mouth,
to marry
but no
him.
evidence.
He brought my best friends and my dad out. They left. And shortly after they left, my co-star, one of my co-stars, invited me to go to a concert.
face
with
is
him and some of
constantly
the
looking
cast
like
to
she
kind of break
smells
the
her
ice,
own
and
farts.
I'd be working with them for the next few months. And I had already, I already knew I
up,
couldn't
Big Roar?
be photographed, even if it was platonic. I couldn't be photographed with men or women that other people could possibly spin as romantic. I had learned that, but in January, the hard way. So I
Thank you,
asked
Remington.
him permission if I could go to this concert with the cast, and I said, Johnny,
Yeah, I'm
he's
more
gonna-
excited about the
my co-star-
cross-examination
Your Honor,
because this is just, this is the lawyers basically just trying to set her up to look
Don't
good.
tell us what the co-star said. Just tell us what your communication was with Mr. Depp.
Objection, hearsay. Her communications are hearsay.
True.
I'll
True.
sustain the objection.
I'm not sure I understand.
If you want to approach, that's
Yes.
How do you not understand? That's word of mouth. Her conversations with someone. He said, she said. That's hearsay. What's the best for Johnny? Is the cross-examination is happening today because we got a little bit of the examination of Amber Heard yesterday and a little bit today, I think. And it's going to be half of that today and then the cross-examination later. I don't know how long they're going to just just examine her. She should be faster than Johnny's testimony. All that's happening right now is her trying to get sympathy. That's it. Yeah, everything she's got is hearsay. Really, there is no evidence. So really, a lot of what she has is just hearsay. But the thing I don't get is all they've done so far is have Amber look at the jury and put on a sob story and just be like, "Hi, we were soulmates. We were so in love. How could this happen?" That's it. That's all that's happening. And then I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but all that happened yesterday was her just listing off things that she does. I help kids. I go to charities. And there's this one part that was so stupid of her lawyer asking her about when she was younger and she used to tend to horses and train horses. And she's like, okay, but what kind of temperament do you need to train horses? Well, you need to be very calm and a very positive person in order to handle horses. Basically just trying to say that since she trained horses when she was younger, that means that she's a calm person.
the engagement would be off, that the relationship
They're just trying to
would be
build
off.
up her character into people
And
believing
that
that she's a
was,
good person.
Foolish, naive, for thinking
She helps
that
kids by not donating the amount she
people could
promises.
invite
Yeah, I
me
know.
to a concert in a platonic way. I tried to say that it was fine.
Objection,
that it was-
hearsay.
I tried to say.
She's testifying about what Mr. Depp said. I don't understand.
all right. I'll overrule that objection.
Please continue.
Yeah, he said I was foolish and naive, that no one could invite me to. How could I be so dumb to think that somebody could just invite me to a concert? Why would they want to hang out with me?
Don't you love how she's
Obviously, it's
addressing the
because
jury the whole time?
They wanted more from me, and that I probably wanted more too. I was basically asking for it. You're going to go backstage. What are you going to say to the band? And then I know how this plays out. And who's the other girl going to be there? And how could you be so stupid? How could you be so foolish? You're more naive. You should be smarter than this. And I apologized. I stayed, that whole evening, I think for a few hours, I spent on the phone.
Yeah,
with
I
him,
heard about that. They're
texting,
mostly
calling,
men
or
on the jury
talking,
as well.
He'd hang up on me, be upset, and then send me cryptic messages about my
Yo, thank
my
you,
foolishness.
Lapoy.
And I'm already doing a movie where I play this, character.
Yeah, I know. She's trying to connect with them and
where
get
I
them
was
to feel
empowered.
sympathy
Like,
for
I
her.
read the script and I thought this character was empowered sexually, and by the time I got Johnny's feedback on it, I had been convinced that actually I was just being used. That I was just being used. It was clear that that was all I had to offer, and I was too foolish to see it. And I had
Amber, I'm just going to stop you right there because I'd like you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 188A. Is that
What
in front of you?
I don't get it.
Do you recognize this portion of the text?
So she's saying Johnny did something good?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and this is on September 9, 2000.
Yeah, I know. Johnny's barely looking at her
Yes,
when
it is.
Amber was
Okay,
staring him
and
down.
Are
You know what's
these
funny?
statements Mr.
While
Depp
she was
made
testifying,
during
Johnny
the
laughed
just
multiple
described to
times by how ridiculous some of the things
the
she said was.
admission of Defendant's 188A?
Any objection?
No objection.
But until there's evidence,
A in evidence as
I'd like to see
redacted.
evidence.
Do I have that redaction, or is that something you need to give me? Is
I
that-
think we're going to need to give it to you hard
Okay.
copy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Your
it.
Honor.
What's the
And
point of her
if I-
speaking of the film? I don't really know.
And if I can draw your attention to it, he first says, I don't want to make anything an issue, baby, but I literally have been on the ground just 14 fucking hours from leaving your side. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then he says, you know what I want, who I am, and where I want to go with us. You know very well what type of fucking man I am, and yet you lay a gauntlet before me that you know is the very species of danger that will always attract me into a very tempting test. What's behind that door?
Bro, what?
Almost impossible to even not take you on. You want me to roll the dice? This sounds more like an aggravated ultimatum than soft words that could help us make both feel better. Don't test me, please. Did he tell you that?
Yes, he
And
did.
what did you
And?
understand that to mean?
It was clear. It was a threat that if I wanted to be,
Objection, speculation.
How is
I
that
think
a
she can say
threat?
what she understood it to mean.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. All right. Let's
How
move
is that
on
a
then
threat?
to the filming of Mordecai with Mr. Bettany in October, November 2013. Where did that
Yeah,
take
that-
place?
in London.
Okay.
The only
And
thing
what
that
if
sounded like a
any,
threat is don't
involvement
test
did you
me.
have?
But
Were you there
that was more
for any
about
part
how
of
he
that
was
filming?
willing to continue the relationship,
Part
right?
of it, I happened to be in London already for the film I was just telling you about.
You think Amber Heard's
And Johnny
lawyers are
came
bad
to
because no
London
one would take the
shortly
case?
after to film his own movies.
She has plenty
He
of
did
money. I'm sure
the smaller-
anyone would take the
I
case,
think it
to
was
be
a
fair.
smaller role in Into the Woods, and then he was filming Mordecai after that. So after
That
I
is a
finished
statement
my
that the
movie, I
relationship
moved
is a
in
struggle to
with him,
maintain.
into
Yeah, but it was a
his
statement
house
saying he's
in
willing
London.
to try.
A
You know,
rented
like
house in
that's what I
London.
thought. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
It was a weirdly worded
And
message.
describe your experiences during that time period with Mr. Depp.
It was really touch and go. He was.
Oh, I
filming
know. I'm
with
ready for that cross-examination,
Bettany,
dude.
and,
I'm ready for it.
there were days when he wouldn't come home, or they couldn't get him up out of on set. He'd be asleep in his trailer, sleeping whatever he'd done the night before off. I remember he missed a few days of work that way. It struck me because in my experience in our job, you don't miss work. It doesn't matter how sick you are. You go. It's millions of dollars every single day they're filming, and I had not experienced someone who could effectively just control the set like that. To that extent. And one
Okay.
day he didn't come home,
So he's lazy.
and I was worried sick.
And
I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul Bettany.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay. Move forward, because
When he came home, they had to carry him home.
Objection, hearsay.
Did you see them?
I
carry
watched
him?
it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, please continue.
I watched. Actually, I was shocked that he could do it. One of the security guards carried Johnny like a baby
yeah, they're letting Amber talk way more than Johnny.
into the
That's
house,
right.
and I looked at
But
that.
to be
and,
fair,
I mean his boots were hanging over the security guard's arm, who had to negotiate getting through the doorway, carrying Johnny like this. And I thought, I
Why is
watched
hello?
this, shaking
Is it
their
frozen?
head, you know, just shaking their
I think
head,
it's
acknowledging
frozen,
this
chat.
is how bad it is. And I remember
Is
thinking,
it the whole?
this has got
the
to
whole
be
thing?
it. Like, this has got to change. This is surely, this is it.
It's on their end. Okay.
And he was understandably very, very sick for at least 2 days, is my recollection. And in that 2 days, I had a lot of conversations with this team. I won't say what they were. But I felt at that juncture very encouraged that everybody and myself were on the same page. And I felt encouraged that we were in a new chapter, that Johnny had finally.
And that's what I was thinking. I was
hit
thinking the
rock
lawyers are
bottom,
letting her
and
talk, so it gives them
finally he
ammo
felt
to, you know, screw
changing
her
for
over
good.
in the cross-examination.
And I felt buoyed, you know, supported by these conversations I was having with people that he was close to, that he trusted.
November 2013, did you have any contact with Lily Rose that led to any discussions with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if any, communications did you have with Lily Rose in November 2013?
Objection calls her hearsay leading.
I'm asking what her connection was. I didn't ask what she
I'm going to
said.
sustain the objection if you want.
Okay. November 2013, what, if any,
Get fucked.
interaction did you have with Lily
Jesus,
Rose without
just
saying
changing
anything
the
she said?
wording.
Objection
Just changing
hearsay.
the word. Yeah. Hello.
It's
just changing
interaction,
the
Your Honor.
wording
I'm not
doesn't
asking
help.
for what she said.
If you can lay a foundation out.
Okay. Did there come a time in November 2013 that you saw Lily Rose?
Yes, they came to stay with us for
It's
some
so
time
funny
in the winter.
that they're just like,
around November,
did
I
you
believe, 2013.
happen to
When you said
stumble
they, who are you referring
upon Lily Rose?
Johnny's kids, Jack and Lily
Like
Rose.
she just changes up the
And was
wording.
there a particular incident that led to a disagreement with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if any,
Oh!
interaction did you have with
That's
Lily Rose
what,
that
4
led to
in
an
a row?
argument with Mr. Depp?
Objection leading.
That, what, if any?
If we approach from
Dude, they're getting rolled. Wait, let me look at the chat. I want to see what they're saying. Sustain. Nice shots fired. John. Dude, she's getting rolled again. This happened yesterday. It was like, I think, what, 7 sustains in a row? This was what, 5?
Did you have an argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
Well, I
Stun lock is
I
busting.
didn't. I was. You know, these kids were. I found them to be these beautiful,
Oh, God.
wildly intelligent little
Oh, God.
weirdos in the best way. You know, they were. I was falling in love with them, and
Dude, that is not what a normal
You know,
person
they
says. They
were
were
in
just
my life at
wonderful
that time,
little
a short amount of time, but I
weirdos.
loved it, and I started to feel very protective and.
that literally
know,
sounds like she hates those kids so much, and she just tries to find like like she literally can't find a term. You know, like those movies where like there's an adult that hates a child, but then when another adult comes around, it's like, oh, I just love these little weirdos, but they actually hate them. That's literally what it sounded like.
Thank you. Please continue.
This argument happened because Johnny was. I didn't agree
Little
that
rat
this
scowl.
gentleman, it was a famous musician, over the age of 18,
Little rugrats.
spent the night at the house, and I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned. And naturally, they were not my children. It's not my place, and I understand that. I know it's a sensitive subject, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me. But that and the introduction of the weed with his daughter, she was so young, I just felt protective. Again, it's not my place. I understand that. And I made him really angry by weighing in on that.
Okay. Did there come a time that there was a family engagement gathering?
So he smokes weed in front of his kid,
Well, we,
and she doesn't like that, right?
Celebrated
People were saying her talking about his kids as a tactic.
In London, the kids were there.
Really?
There was a stint of sobriety following how sick he got on set with Paul Bettany after one of his drug binges, and he kind of just came alive again. You know, he even like played a prank on me about having like relapsed when he hadn't relapsed. You know,
so whimsical. So
I started
whimsical.
to kind of feel that with the kids being around. I did think that maybe this was it. We were on a good path.
Yeah, she's playing. You're right. She's playing up the nursing stereotype or nurturing, like saying that she's taking care of his kids, basically.
Peaceful for a minute, you know. It went back to being wonderful. There were these moments that just felt so wonderful.
Objection, Your Honor,
According to Depp, his
non-responsive.
kid knew better, and they never went near Amber Turd.
I'll just sustain the objection.
Okay.
Oh,
Take us to the engagement.
shit!
There was an engagement party, correct?
Then, yes, come Christmas of 2013.
So many sustains,
Johnny
dude.
had rented this beautiful mansion in Malibu on the beach. It was
Let's get a
gorgeous.
sustain counter going. What
And
was that?
He
6?
brought my family out, and his family was out, obviously in LA, and we stayed in this rented mansion, and we're all together for the holidays. And one evening, we were going to his mother's house. His mother, who you've heard about, was older and sick, but at home being cared for. And one evening we're going to have dinner, Christmas dinner there with her around the time of her birthday as well. And my best friend said, "You should
Objection,
really."
hearsay.
Sorry.
Wasn't an effort to prove the truth of the matter, but go ahead. Go past that. What did you do?
We went to Betty Sue's
That
house,
counts.
his mother's house, and Johnny proposed in front of our
counts.
families in this big, surprise. He surprised me, got down on one knee, and I cried and hugged my mother and hugged his mother, and
This
he
is
gave me
about the
this
proposal again. Why?
enormous diamond ring, and it was a nice time.
I love how she
We
referenced
take
that.
you into January.
Doesn't that
February
just show her
2014.
narcissism and shit right there? An enormous
You
ring.
employed.
God, it was so big. I loved it.
Objection, leading.
That literally just shows her
Defend
how
the relationship
like
that you
her.
have with
It literally shows her personality right there.
She was
That's
my
what she's
assistant,
focusing on.
at the time. I
I hear
hired
say
her
the diamond was small.
sometime in 2012, and had
My sound
as
effects
minimal,
aren't on.
contact with her as I possibly could. So
And why is that?
she was
My sound effects aren't on. Stop.
difficult, troubled, and inconsistent. She drank on the job and stuff like that, and her behavior was pretty
Objection, relevance.
horrible.
She's already testified. Kate James has testified, and I think the bias. We can.
All right, I'll allow that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Please describe for the jury what job responsibilities Kate had and
Just
how
do
you
the sound effects with your
communicated
mouth.
with
Okay,
her,
fine.
and kind of how that worked.
Objection, compound.
Overruled.
Thank you.
We had minimal person-to-person interaction because I was hardly ever in LA. If I was,
Wait, was
I
that a
there
sustain?
for a
I
few
wasn't
days
paying
at a time.
attention.
And Johnny and I kind of lived in this insular bubble anyway when we were together. But we would send
Thank you, Crimson Alchemist.
emails, texts, and a lot of voice memos.
That was overrule? Okay, I missed it.
And, you know, if I found that if I said, Kate, you know, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street, you need to
Objection,
move it.
hearsay.
She's not testifying, she's testifying about context.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
All right. I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 209.
That was an abstain, not a sustain. That was an abstain, but she told
Your
her to
Honor,
move
I'm going to
on.
object on hearsay grounds.
That was an abstain, chat. That wasn't a sustain. That was an abstain, but she just told her to move on.
Still hearsay. May we
Ms. Hurd,
approach?
did you, may I lay the foundation first? Ms. Hurd, did you communicate with Kate James by email in the ordinary course of your business?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to take a look at Defendant's
What's the difference?
209.
Abstain
Is
means
this
that
a communication
it's basically an overruling.
that was between you and Kate James that was in the ordinary course of business with her as an employee?
Yes, it is.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 209,
I don't know, like
business
the
records exception.
Still hearsay, Your Honor.
Business
specific
record exception
reasoning
gets
that they're
the
different.
business
but-
record, but it's hearsay. If there's hearsay involved inside the business record, there's still objection to hearsay.
Your Honor, the
Abstain
business
means
records
stop?
exception.
Okay.
I mean, I don't agree. I think that's the point that hearsay can.
Approach.
Bro, I'm sorry, you arguing with the judge over here? Huh? I don't agree, Judge. That's not. I don't agree with you, Judge. They already approached the bench twice, dude. They already approached the bench twice. Wait, why is hashtag I stand with Amber Heard trending on Twitter? Post of just pictures of her like, oh my gosh, I stand with this queen or whatever. And you go through the I stand with Johnny Depp tag and it's full of audio and photographic proof that Johnny Depp was abused. Anyone who's like, I stand with Amber Heard are just complete morons, and I have this present for them. I'm waiting to see someone actually saying, should turn on your comments so we can spread facts over your bullshit. Oh, wait, are people shutting off comments? It's a troll, you know. Okay, how these work on Twitter is it starts out like real, like someone finds one tweet of someone saying I stand with Amber Heard, and then it blows up with counter, you know, it blows up with like a counter of everyone laughing at that person, so you can't even find anyone who's actually saying that shit.
What, if any, communications did you have with Kate James about your issues with Mr. Depp?
Objection, hearsay.
Your Honor, Ms. James has testified.
I'll sustain the objection.
Oh, that's 9,
You can take
dude.
that down, Michelle.
Oh, get ratioed IRL.
Jump to February, March 2016. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Depp about a prenup?
Well, after the engagement, but before the engagement party, I started to feel like it would make, you know, I know that he earned significantly more than me, he's a successful actor. I wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds, so I brought it up to him and brought it up to my therapist.
Objection, hearsay.
She's just saying that she brought it up to her therapist. She's not
Sustain.
saying what she said.
Sustain.
But please focus on Mr. Depp, okay?
Of course.
Come on.
Johnny
Come
said
on.
he would tear it up.
How do we know this?
He said if you ever brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death. Only way out of this is death. And I thought,
how is that? Isn't that romantic?
I didn't care either way, but I did feel that it would eliminate suspicion or
that would be a romantic thing to say.
And I told him over and over again, you know, are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe we should do this. And
that feels like Amber's trying to save herself, not vice versa.
He's like, kid, are you already thinking of how you're getting out of this? Are you already planning to get out of this, kid? You already planning on leaving? That was the same. It was around the same time as the moving in together conversation.
How does this make Johnny look bad? I don't get it. He's saying, no, I don't want, she wanted the prenup to save Johnny. And then Johnny says, I don't want a prenup because we're in this till we die. We're in this till death. I love you. And she's like, are you sure? Don't you want to do this? How in any way does this make Johnny look bad?
Downtown where my best friend was living at this time.
This makes her look like a bad person. Like she was planning that she's going to leave him at some point.
These conversations were kind of happening about how to build our future together and how we were going to move forward together. And I would have forgotten about the extent that we had those conversations early on in the engagement if it hadn't been.
He wanted to be married forever, and I didn't like that.
I'm sorry, if it hadn't been for your what?
If it hadn't been for my therapist's notes, which were taken at the time when I was talking to her about this and my conversations with
Objection,
Johnny.
hearsay.
Okay.
I'll sustain the objection.
We'll move on. Okay.
Oh!
Let's take it to March 2014.
Dude, we're literally to double
There come a time
digits,
there was
man.
an engagement party.
Everything,
Yes,
dude,
so,
everything she's saying is hearsay.
Yeah, it was March 2014.
Please describe for the jury.
We had an engagement party, and we decided that when we did get married, we'd have a small wedding, you know, something intimate. But, you know, our lives were kind of
Was asking
big.
Amber the questions.
His life was extremely
her
big.
lawyers.
And we
She's
needed
the
to incorporate. We wanted to have a
defendant?
bigger engagement party
plaintiff?
than a wedding, you know, and kind of get our
Because
guests
Johnny's
in,
suing
our family,
her.
our
So
friends.
she's the defendant.
And have
Okay.
a big event
That's
of
what
it,
it is.
as opposed to making the wedding something that was big. And you know, so we kind of put it on the engagement party and had a bunch of people, a lot of friends, business acquaintances.
You would ignore his request for her to sign a
family.
prenup?
Had
I may
all
be
of my
wrong about that.
family friends and my childhood friends come out for it, and I even invited my therapist. It was, you know, a big event.
Either way,
And
it
describe
doesn't
what
make
took
Johnny
place
look
at the
bad
engagement party.
at all.
Well, we walk in together and we took some pictures and said a few hellos.
Thank
and
you,
then Johnny
Melody.
disappeared upstairs in, I guess it's like a coat room or something. It was in a big abandoned building that was rented out for events. And he had disappeared upstairs almost the entire party, I would say. It was kind of came down at the end when we were leaving, and came down once because he was at the time sharing drugs with my dad.
Objection. Speculation. Lack of foundation.
How do you know that he was sharing drugs with your dad?
I was there. I watched it.
Please continue.
My dad
Okay.
at the time was on the same, was addicted to the same thing Johnny was. And so my dad had, either my dad ran out or Johnny ran out.
So
I can't
everything
recall which
on their
of the two ran
defense
out, but there
stems
was
from
you
Johnny does
they
drugs.
needed more,
That's it.
of course, and had to leave the party.
I love,
My
wait,
dad actually
Amber's
left
defense currently
Johnny's
is her saying Johnny
security
threw a
to go
nice
get
party,
drugs
wanted to
from-
be together
Objections,
forever,
false
and was
speculation.
vibing with her
How do you know
parents.
that?
They told me.
Hearsay.
Sustain the objection.
Okay.
And they
Oh,
left to go
shit.
whatever, and then they came back with drugs, and everything was okay in terms of the the withdrawal symptom of I don't know what you call it at that point, but
Withdrawals?
he still stayed
He's
upstairs.
opiate dependent?
And
Are you
when-
referring to Mr. Depp?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes,
so
drugs are bad.
shortly
Don't
after
do
that,
drugs.
I tried to get Johnny to come
But
downstairs.
when has he abused her?
And he just snapped at me, just verbally told me to shut the fuck up. And
Oh.
I
Oh.
remember talking to my mom about the irony of it.
Okay.
We were at an engagement party, but that was pretty much it for the engagement party. And I went downstairs and entertained guests and smiled and took pictures and put on a
Heavens,
face
no.
and, went about my evening.
All right. I'm going to take you to May 2014, the Met Gala. Could you please tell the jury what a Met Gala is and what's involved in
So,
that?
something that's interesting is I feel like her entire case is basically saying if you do drugs, you're bad. If you do drugs, you're a bad person. You do bad things. Which I feel like is just really stupid because if you do drugs, that doesn't just mean you're a bad person. If you're addicted to drugs, that doesn't mean you're a bad person at all. It means you got addicted to drugs. There are occasions where you might be a bad person and also do drugs, but that also could be you need help.
Already gone for the previous year
You know?
or two, and this year we were going to go together.
You're a good person who needs help.
And
That could also be a
at some
thing.
point in the evening, we're sitting across the table, and Johnny starts asking me about this woman. He thought I was looking at this woman in a sexual way, and I kind of turned it around on him and said that exact same
Objection
thing.
hearsay.
All right. It's context, Your Honor. This is
I'll
context.
sustain the objection.
Okay. Just say what Mr. Depp said then. I guess you can't tell us what you said to him.
Okay.
Oh, she's getting snarky.
He was accusing me of flirting, and that's how the argument started. I don't recall what other accusations.
These are
I was
petty
fielding at
arguments,
that
though.
Moment, but typically, in my
These are
experience
just
with him, it
petty
wasn't just one.
relationship arguments that everyone
So he'd make a
has.
point, and then he would go on to a different accusation.
Like I feel like if you
But
just
I
start a
remember that what
relationship
started
and
it is this
your
accusation
significant
that I
other might be looking
had
at someone
been
else,
flirting
you would be
at
like,
this
"What are you
event.
doing?" You know?
We get back to the hotel
know.
room.
That feels like a
and
normal argument.
Johnny shoves me and kind of grabs
here we
me
go.
by the collarbone area, like not really my neck, but top of my neck, top of my above my collarbone, below my neck.
Okay.
I think at that point when we were still in the living room, I shoved him back, but I can't. I don't really recall too many specifics. I remember he threw a bottle at me. It missed me, but it broke the chandelier. And at some point, I remember.
How do you not recall?
The shove that I was talking about? But at some point, Johnny and I are in a struggle.
Johnny's over there sketching out a new album cover.
Kind of like shoves me down on the sofa, and I get up and I'm trying to get him off of me, and it's just stronger than me. I don't know how else to describe it. And at some point, he just whacks me in the face. And I had not, at the time, been I think that was the first time I was like, is this a broken nose? At the time, I was unsure what that feeling was, but
Where's
I suspected
the-
I had a broken nose.
Evidence.
And other than that, I was relatively unscathed. But I remember my nose being swollen, discolored, red. And
That's not unscathed.
I took a picture of my face at some
Okay.
point and made a
Let's see
joke
it.
about it to my friend about how bad I looked compared to how the red
Objection
carpet.
hearsay.
Where's the picture?
Offered to prove the truth of the matter.
Yes,
asserted.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Okay.
Where's
Just
the
don't say
picture?
what
Another
you-
sustain.
what
Where's the
you told a
picture?
friend. Okay. Okay.
Show me the picture.
Let's take you to
You have a
the
picture?
Adderall Diaries. When did you start?
Why did we
filming
skip
the
that?
Adderall Diaries.
Believe
Why are we not showing evidence? You had a picture.
I filmed
Apparently.
another movie in New York, March, April, May, I went straight from that movie to another movie.
You had a
independent
billion
film
videos of Johnny. Why don't you have
James Franco.
anything of this?
The one I had previously shot was with Christopher Walken. That's right. Okay, so I went from one to the other and saw Johnny in these, in between. Like if I got a long weekend or, I'd fly home to be with him and then fly back. It was kind of like that.
Fly back from where? Where were you filming
Her
those?
words are the
New
evidence.
York.
True.
Okay. And where was Mr. Depp at that time?
Johnny was in LA at the time and then eventually went on location for his movie, Black Mass, in Boston.
So you were in New York and Mr. Depp was in Boston at some point? in May?
Eventually, by May 2014. That's it.
All right. And what, if any, discussions or arguments did you have with Mr. Depp relating to James Franco in that time frame of May 2014?
It's a nightmare.
She's really PTSD. PTSD.
I wanted to do this independent film. I liked the story. I liked the character. I, told him I'm not going to
She
wear
banged
makeup or
Franco though,
anything.
didn't
Objection,
she?
hearsay.
Pretty sure.
Apparently,
Ms. Bionicpigtv, Coach, please.
Come on. So I'm confused because if she has a picture, why did she not show evidence? I'm really confused about that. And okay, something that's interesting is if you notice when Johnny Depp explained his, finger getting blown up and getting beat up by her. There's injuries. There's pictures of his injuries. There's literally ample amounts of evidence for it. Not only that, but he literally recalls every detail down to the T, down to the word, except till after he got his finger hit, and then he said all he heard was just a loud screeching noise, or like a loud ringing noise, which makes sense. Yeah, he literally has scars. And when he told that, the thing is when you have a traumatic event in your life, it sticks with you. If you have PTSD about something that happened, you remember it to a T. You remember every detail of that situation.
so tell the jury what Mr. Depp
At least
said.
from what I've seen. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that
He
seems
was
like
mad at me.
that's the case for a lot of people
taking
that suffer
the
from
job
that.
with James Franco. He hated James Franco, and was already accusing me of kind of secretly having a thing with him in my past since we had done Pineapple Express together.
Okay. So I'm going to take you to the Boston
Wait, is Amber supposed to be the
plane
face of the Me Too movement?
incident. We've heard about that earlier, May 24.
That's ironic.
Can you please describe for the jury what took place?
I remember all my trauma
on
down
May
to the bone. I
24
genuinely do. See, that's what I thought.
relating to the plane incident.
Well, I had spoken to Johnny, he's in Boston, I'm in New York, and I spoke to him. He had already been upset with me and accused me in many arguments about not telling him about scenes that I had. If I had a kissing scene, any sort of romantic scene, and I wasn't
So he's a jealous
explicit about
guy.
what I was going to do,
Okay.
then I was accused of having withheld information and hiding it from him. So
I mean, to be fair, if I was in a relationship, I would like to know if my wife's going to be kissing another guy in a movie.
I had to kind of eggshell tiptoe around how to tell
I wouldn't
him
get mad about
when
it,
I had any
but
sort
I mean,
of
it'd be
scene like
nice
that.
to know.
And I did tell him in this occasion.
Objection, hearsay.
We need to stay with what Mr. Depp said, okay?
Okay, so he was upset with me, but he didn't sound coherent so much on the phone. He was yelling at me about how could you tell me this? How could you tell me this when I'm filming, when I have this scene that I'm doing? How could you tell me this when I'm working? Obviously, I couldn't tell him any other time because we were both filming, and I told him as soon as it was relevant. But he kept saying, how could you tell me this? How could you just tell me this? And it was like I had told him I was having an affair or something, you know, it was that angry at me. But he kind of started to sound less connected to reality as these like arguments would happen on the phone. This is in one day. Eventually, he hangs up
So
on
he's
me
just
in the
an insanely
conversation,
jealous guy.
screaming at me. I talked to his assistants. I won't say what they said, but I had conversations and felt encouraged that I could continue on with the plan, which was for me to get on the plane, go to Boston, pick him up, and we would go back to LA for his daughter's birthday. I was nervous because the conversation I had had with him, and he was so upset with me on that conversation, but I figured I assumed he had passed out and that he would have been kind of sobered up the next day.
So if there's evidence she
Assuming that the
won't give
work
it,
would
so
mean that
far,
he felt pressured to
apparently
kind
she
of
had a
pull it
picture.
together.
Who knows? They might show evidence later.
And I get on
We
the
shall see.
plane. He sent the plane, so I assumed he's not that mad at me. He's over it. We're moving on. He's sobered up. There had been a lot of talk about a sober plan, like a full detox, a full recovery, a doctor, a whole plan. You know, there were talks of that following what had happened in London. So I was feeling like, okay, well,
How many hours
maybe we're here.
is there for
And I
today?
get on
Is
the
it a longer
plane,
or shorter day? Because I
it
know there's
touches
a week
down
break.
and the SUV pulls
It
up and
depends.
it sits on the
It
tarmac
depends on
for
how
a
much
very
the
long
cross
time.
examination has, which they
He
probably
knows
have a
I'm on
lot.
the plane waiting for him. So I kind of started to anticipate that things weren't as I hoped, meaning that he was sober and had slept it off. And I'm sitting on the plane for
Why
a
won't
very
she
long
show
time
the
waiting for
evidence
him,
to
and
clear
he
her name?
finally opens the door.
I don't know proper
and I see him get out of the
etiquette of
SUV, and I can
law.
guess.
I don't
how
know if
he's
you have to
moving,
show it
how he's
at a
walking.
specific time or what.
I didn't
don't
realize
know.
at the time I had already become really sensitive to these little changes because my life changed depending on what he was on. And he gets on the plane, and I just knew in every cell of my body something was wrong.
Okay.
And he comes straight up to me, doesn't say anything to me, but is looking at me. He's got these glasses on, and he takes them off in this kind of aggressive manner and sits down across from me, not in the usual spot. We kind of have our places on his plane, you know, where you get used to sitting. And I remember I got up and moved to accommodate him getting by so he could sit in the normal seat as per usual. He didn't. He sat across from me. At some point, and I don't really remember the exact sequence of it, we take off, and at some point he's asking me what's wrong with me. What do I have? Do I have something to tell him? Do I have something to tell him? You want to talk to me about your day yesterday? And then it gets, I already know that he's drunk. I already know he's using, he reeks of weed and alcohol. I mean, his breath smelled so bad, and I could.
Look, he laughed. He laughed.
I could anticipate that there was a no-win situation here. There was no me talking myself out of this.
I believe
or
the
talking
pictures
him
of
down or
Heard's injuries are already public.
a
There
lot of
was
my
talk
arguments
she
and my
used
involvement
makeup,
in
but I'm
them
not sure myself.
Are me trying to diffuse by explaining or
Objection, non-responsive.
She's telling the story, Your Honor.
I'll sustain an objection as part of it. Go ahead.
So he is asking me questions.
God damn, dude.
And I know to not engage. I was polite. I made sure to answer minimal amount of, the minimal amount that I could. I moved slowly. I was trying to be polite, but not engage because there was no win. And he kept going, kept asking me. Eventually he went from, do you have something to tell me, to, you want to tell me how much you liked it? Tell me, did he slip a tongue?
Okay.
It got worse and worse, just more. It went from asking me about how my kissing scene went or how the sex scene went, to asking me what James Franco had done in the scene, to being really explicit about my body. You know, he was talking about...
The thing is, there's no swelling.
He was saying really disgusting things about my
There's
body,
no swelling anywhere.
about how I liked it, how I responded, and then he started just straight up taunting me. I know you liked it. He called me a go-getter.
There's no swelling. Okay.
He
Sorry.
called me a slut.
I don't know. It might be real. I don't know.
And also, this is happening with security and
I'm not
his
going to
assistants
assume
on the plane. And I remember I felt I struggle to be able to tell you how embarrassed I was, because he was speaking to me in front of people in this way, asking me if I liked it and if I was wet, and you know, why I wasn't looking at him, and that was proof I wasn't looking at him. That was proof that I was asking for it. Did I ask James to do this and this to me? And how about if he does those things to me? Insert sexually explicit descriptions of what he accused me of wanting or deserving.
Okay.
And I, at some point in this, get up and move to the front of the plane. And I remember getting up so slowly. I didn't want to aggravate him. I didn't want to give him any excuse to pounce on. I didn't
She about
want
to cry?
upset him.
What do you mean? She is crying.
To flip a switch and get worse. I just remember very slow movements, and I slowly get up and move to the front of the plane, and he starts throwing things at me. Ice cubes, utensils. He's calling me a go-getter, and then an embarrassment, talking about what an embarrassment I am. I don't know how many times I moved seats. I wish I did.
Why didn't she record it?
I remember moving more than once.
She was happy to record Johnny Depp
to me
for anything.
Not the other way around.
Why not this?
He sits down in front of me at one point.
I don't get it.
And because I'm not
I mean, I guess you didn't think about it? I don't know.
The window, and he slaps my face. And
okay.
His friend is in our proximity. And it didn't hurt my face. It just felt embarrassed that he would do that to me in front of people. It was the first time that anything like that had happened in front of somebody.
Okay, where's his friend?
I got up
Witness.
to move again, and he's just taunting me.
I don't care about
having a
any
laugh,
of this
screaming,
until I know it actually
and then just
happened.
straight up mean, calling me names. And it was oscillating between those things. And I get up slowly again, and I just resolve
where's the
to
friend
just sit
statement?
the rest of the time.
I need evidence, man. I can't feel bad for you
as I get
until
up,
I see it.
he kind of kicks the swivel chair into my hip, or kind of just hits me. And I look at him, and he asks me, what are you going to do about it? I just stared at him. I just stared at him and wanted him to see me. I wanted to get through to him. Didn't feel there was it felt like there was a blackness in his eyes. I wanted to look at him. I wanted him to see me. It didn't even feel like him. And
Which, I mean, okay, listen. I don't think this story is completely fabricated, I'll admit. Because, you know, if someone's drunk or on drugs, it does feel like that.
I wasn't engaging.
You know, where it doesn't feel like you're talking to that actual person. It feels like, I get that. I feel like this story is not completely fabricated.
Hurry up.
You know,
and
but
look at him one more time.
It's hard to believe any of the abuse parts where she gets hit, and slapped, and punched or hit in front of someone.
I loved.
he might have been drunk on a plane and was, questioning her about James Franco. I don't know about the rest.
Pull my gaze away from him. I walk away from him. My back is turned to him, and I feel
he might have just thrown stuff in a general direction. Who knows?
In my back. He just kicked me in the back. I fell to the floor. I caught myself on the floor, and I just felt like I was looking at the floor of the plane felt like a long time.
Because if this is real, this is rough. Like, this is a lot of shit.
I can't believe he just kicked me.
Like, she got slapped in the face. She got stuff thrown at her. She got kicked in the back. She got sexually harassed. Like, if this stuff is actually real and happened, it's very bad.
And I just remember feeling so embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed that he could kick me to the ground in front of people. And more embarrassing, I didn't know what to do about it. I got up and I walked to the front of the plane. I sat down and I just looked out of the window.
Yeah, this is all true. He would have gone to jail a long time ago.
And Jerry Judge's security and my friend both kind of under their breath asked me.
You wouldn't feel embarrassed? You'd feel enraged?
I spent the rest of the time looking out of the window.
Sustain the objection.
And
witnesses? Witnesses? Hello?
Did there come a time that you tape recorded Mr. Depp?
Every witness she said didn't have a
this
scratch
plane?
on her, really. Her friend was there too.
I want to sit here and say that I was telling myself I needed to leave him. But as he got worse, he demanded the oxygen tank from the flight attendant. Excuse me. And he continued to drink and then eventually started howling like an animal and passed out in the bathroom with the door locked. And
I hope that part's
was
real.
howling, and I at some point pushed record on my phone because
I hope that's real.
there was that 5% part of me.
Objection, non-responsive.
I don't think it's non-responsive. She's explaining what led up to her tape recording him and why. I mean, I can ask her, will that solve it? Why did you tape record him?
Because I knew that Johnny wouldn't remember.
I want to hear
what
him
he had
howl,
done.
dude.
I knew he would not remember.
Howling in the
if-
bathroom. Let's go.
She can say why she did it and what she thought.
But that last part called for speculation. I'll sustain the
Don't
objection.
say I knew. Why did you tape record?
In my experience, when Johnny was that inebriated, he would not remember what he had done.
Calls for speculation.
How can that call for speculation?
I'll sustain the objection.
All right, let's go to defendants 221. And I'm going to play 3 different parts for it.
Your Honor, may
if we
we
can-
approach, please?
Okay.
Dude, they get it. Dude, they're so good, man. They get her so good. Okay, here's the thing. Why did she wait until he was howling in the bathroom for her to record something? Dude, it's so hard to believe her, man. It is so fucking hard to believe her. God, like, a part of me wants to be like, okay, this possibly could have happened. You know what I mean? Because it really could have. There is an off chance this all could have happened. And they're both just very abusive people. It's true. It could happen. But it's so hard to believe her, man. Like how she's acting, the fact that she didn't record anything, just like her mannerisms during this, it all feels staged. It doesn't feel like it's genuinely affecting her. It all feels staged. I don't know. There might be witnesses. I mean, they're like, obviously it could happen later on. There might be witnesses. Well, it is because she lied so much before, so we don't know what to believe, sadly. Yeah, exactly. Like, when someone's a pathological liar, which potentially she could be, you don't know what the truth is because they continually lie so much. It's hard. You ever had the person's best interest in mind when your reaction to someone you're supposed to love struggling is to record? Exactly.
0 through 1 minute.
She was recording him, like, cutting himself or about to cut himself as a way to use ammo against him. How, in any way, can you record him in that situation and not feel bad instead of record him actually doing something bad? That just sounds like she ran out of ideas. So she recorded him wanting to cut himself in order to use that as evidence to say, yeah, he's the one who put the cigarette on his face. If you're willing to do that, how are you not willing to record while he's actually doing stuff to you? And why is there no evidence of her calling for domestic, like calling the police for domestic abuse? Is there any cases of that, of her, like, police reports of wasn't there a cop that said that there's no evidence of her getting abused when there was a domestic abuse call?
I mean, there's part of it that the noise of the airplane is a little bit loud, but to be able
the
to
cop said no marks. I remember. Okay, yeah, that's right. Oh God, it's horrible. What a beautiful howl. What if he was shitting? What if he was just shitting? He had a mega dump.
And then the second one is from 2:50 to 3:20, 30 seconds.
Okay, come on. I was about to say there's no way that's it. Too many mega pints. Why is she not screaming, "Why did you kick me?" What does that prove? That he was drunk?
Is in evidence. All of 221 is already in evidence.
So may I play the third one then, and then we can take the break?
Yes.
Okay, please.
you.
There's
That would
got to
be
be
my
more than a howl. There's got to be more than just a
I'll
howl.
the jury if I do that, Your Honor. 9:30 to
There's
10, just 30
got to
seconds
be more than a howl, please.
And you can be changing gears after that, or do you have any more questions for this issue?
No, I think this would be fine
Okay,
for a break.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our morning break then. Just do not do any outside research and don't discuss the case with anybody.
That was literally just white noise, and I think he said, "I'm getting sick." That was just plane noises. What is this, man? This isn't... Oh, my God. That's the best evidence
And
I've
again,
ever
since you're
seen.
still testifying, don't discuss your testimony with anybody at this point, okay?
There's
All right,
literally
so let's just
plane
come
noises
back
and then
at-
an
let's make
old
it
man in the background.
11:42. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, chat. Time for a break. Go get some snackies. All right. I think the cross examination's coming next.
Now it's time to walk away. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Did you laugh or cry or maybe subscribed? I'll thank you either way. You know I will miss you. I hope you return. Tell your friend or your mother to get me more views, please.